Dice Man Enterprises exclusively presents a talk show that will get to the bottom of things once and for all. And now here's your host for Let's Get to the Bottom of That, three weirdos on a mic. That's right, welcome into another episode of Let's Get to the Bottom of That. I'm your host, Byron Dice. And unfortunately, we only have one weirdo in studio, which is myself. Yes, thank you. Everybody applaud. The other weirdos, we've had some complications on this this recording schedule. I don't want to go into it, but let's just say there seems to be some under the weather type of situations going on, if you know what I mean. So Joey and Jason are not in studio this week, and it is just me. I'm not going to do a whole show by myself. What I am going to do is I'm going to go into the archives, and I'm going to republish a show that has been lost in the archives. Our audience is bigger now. This episode was episode 13 way back last year when we first started. It was our 13th episode, and I think it's got lost in the archives. I think it's relevant for today, so I'm going to replay it since our audience is larger, and so maybe they didn't get exposed to this episode, and maybe it's one that you should get exposed to. It's going to be social media. Is it worth it? Now, I'm renaming this because when we originally recorded this, it was called Big Tech. Are they being used as weapons of the government? That was I'm renaming this episode because I think the social media aspect has a little more flavor, a little more, I don't know, it's more relevant than just a big tech giant. So what we're talking about in the Big Tech episode, we're talking about Google, Facebook, Twitter, Amazon, Apple, all the big tech companies that actually are controlling over 80, probably 90% of the information that you receive on a day-to-day basis. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to republish this episode, so I hope you'll enjoy it. It is close to Christmas. Today is the 21st, so if you're hearing this before or near Christmas, I wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, in case you didn't listen to this episode until the new year. But this is just me telling you that, hey, have a Happy New Year, because it's not going to be released on the episode. I'm not going to say Happy New Year because it was nowhere near Christmas or the New Year. I digress, and I'll shut up now. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. It's republished, repurposed, and rebranded. So share it with everybody that you can. This is social media, and is it worth it? Hey guys, real quick before we start the show, I wanted to let you know kind of how we do things around here, how we do the podcast. If you've ever wanted to make a podcast, we use Spotify. Spotify's got a platform that lets you make a podcast really, really easy. And then they let you distribute it everywhere and even earn some money if you want a little change, cha-ching in your pocket. And they do it all in one place, and it's for free. That's the exciting part. It's called Spotify for Podcasters. Here's how it works. They let you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or your computer, and then they'll let you distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are heard. And if you want to take your conversations to the next level, they have really cool features like Q&A and polls, and those are the things that really get people and your fans talking about things. So with Spotify for Podcasters, you can also earn money, including ads and podcast subscriptions, and the best of all, like I said, it's totally free with no catch. Ever since I've discovered it, I feel like the options of the Q&A and the video options and the polls has really let me take the creativity of my podcasting to another level. I highly recommend you give it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started today.
I had a dad joke earlier. We were
What is
watching Prince of Egypt, And one of my sons asked, "Hey, what's that river?" And I said, "It's the Nile." And some say that it's going to dry up, but they're in denial.
That's good.
That was good.
The studio audience loved that one.
I love that one, dude.
Yeah, welcome back, guys. It is get to the bottom of that. Today's kind of crazy because today's topic is kind of big tech, which, guess what? We're on big tech. Mm-hmm. You're listening to this on some type of device.
Yep.
Yeah.
Most people, over 50%, listen to this on an iPhone, and over 50% listen on the Spotify app. Mm-hmm. So you're involved in big tech whether you like it or not.
Right.
So, I mean, we could have, got a studio audience, put people up on the balcony, and just did this live for just a couple of people. But we decided the whole world need to hear this.
Yeah.
Yep.
And need to hear our views on big tech.
Yeah.
Has somebody done it before? Probably. Has somebody did it better than us? Probably.
I doubt it, dude.
Probably not. I like Mike's enthusiasm. Yeah. He's like, "No, dude, I'm the best. Nobody's done this before."
I like that energy.
Yeah, we're blazing new trails on this show.
Okay.
I wanted to give a quick shout out from our Facebook page. You can go to our if you want to join our Facebook page, you guys know how the internet works. There's a little button. It's called like. You just click like. Kayla Jania, is that how you said her name? Jania? Janea?
Janae.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was Janae.
Kayla Janae left us a comment. I wanted to thank her for that. She said, and this is the Federal Reserve episode that we did. She commented and said, "This is probably one of the most eye-opening podcast episodes I've listened to. I love all of your content. Keep up the great work."
Thanks,
Kayla.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Kayla.
So that was just a random listener that just popped up on the comment section. It's not like, most of your circles are going to be your friends and family and people that that you share with. But this is somebody that I have no idea who it is. So we're reaching people that we don't even know.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
Stay tuned, Kayla. We hope you'll listen to our other episodes too.
Yeah. Today is big tech. And the question of the day, and by the way, my brain is scattered today, so forgive me, because I know I just mentioned the Instagram. I said that is probably the best place to go. Follow us there, and then the link in the bio of Instagram, you can follow all of our social media pages, plus our website, plus where to listen to us, whatever. So we leave the choice up to you. We don't tell you where to go, but we've left it easy and convenient to find out what the favorite is. So whatever that is for you, you can go to Instagram and follow us. But the question of the day, the Spotify app, mobile only, we will put polls out and questions for each episode. And you can only interact with these if you're listening on the mobile app for Spotify. Now, the question of the day today is, have you ever personally experienced censorship from any social media platform that you use? That's the question of the day for our audience. I'll tell you one, I don't know, because I don't think I have a big enough reach or influence where I post stuff that really matters.
No, you have. You have.
We've gotten a few strikes on...
I was talking about personal.
Oh.
No, but you're right. This show, yes. We have been censored on YouTube when we came out with the January 6th. They striked my video. They deleted it. And I was slapped on the wrist for 7 days. I couldn't upload, do anything on YouTube. So that is, so I would say personally our show has, but me personally, I don't think I would have noticed if I've been throttled or put down for something that I put out there.
Yeah, because you're not like a large public figure, but if you were saying the stuff you're saying and you did have like a considerable audience, you'd be.
Now, is there a difference? Is there a difference in getting censored than, like I have friends, and I've had it myself, where you'll say something on Facebook and they'll go and they'll take it down and they'll kick you out of your account for a while.
Yeah, that's definitely a form of censorship.
So that is not just, hey, I'm doing this behind the scenes, throttling you, nobody can see your stuff.
Yeah, that's like shadow banning.
Nobody's gonna. Your reach is done, but they actually go, no, you can't say that. Put that down.
Yeah, that's a form of censorship.
So that's okay.
Sure.
So I have had that, and I'll actually go out and try to do stuff to see if I can get censored.
Really?
Yeah, I'll actually put stuff out there. Like one year, I got censored because I put the British flag, and the text on it was "Happy Independence Day, Brits."
Oh, okay.
And they struck that down.
Wow.
And slapped me, and I wasn't able to pose for a couple of days.
Wow.
This was on the 4th of July? Or?
Yes.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yes. They didn't like that.
Yeah.
They said it was hateful.
Hate speech.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not speech that you hate.
They just don't like it, huh?
Yeah. That's what it is.
It has no legal definition, so they can define it as they want.
That's right. I like you. Do you guys listen to Tom McDonald?
No.
Yeah,
He's
I've
a
heard,
rapper.
I've heard a
He's-
few of his songs, yeah.
Yeah, the one of those he's mentioned is, because he's controversial about all these topics, even hate speech. It's not hate speech. Hate speech is not speech that you hate.
Right.
Just because you hate it, doesn't mean I can't say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Like yesterday, Kanye said he loved Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
He has every right to say that.
wait.
I don't like that.
Wait, he said that?
Yes, he said I love Hitler. There's a lot of good redeeming qualities about Hitler.
He said that on the Alex Jones interview.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he said he likes Nazis. He has the freedom to say that.
I didn't know he went that far.
Yeah, yes, he did.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's using the premise of Jesus said we should love our enemies. Which I was like, oh, okay, he's got me there. But what do you go for?
I don't know.
That's a stretch.
Isn't that weird though?
Dude, that's a stretch.
I mean,
didn't know he said that.
Well, yeah, he was making Alex uncomfortable. Alex was trying to walk him back, trying to go. Well, I understand what you're saying. I don't think Hitler was a good guy at all. There's a lot of stuff he did.
That's a
I don't think so. But are you saying that you don't because you like his uniform, right? You like his uniform. I get that. And then Kanye was like, no, there's a lot of redeeming qualities. Nobody ever talks about.
That's crazy.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that takes a lot for Alex Jones to like cringe and
Yeah.
feel uncomfortable. When you make Alex Jones feel uncomfortable, you know you're doing something right.
So I don't know if he's actually, saying that for I'm trying to be saucy,
Wow.
or if he really believes it because he invoked name of Jesus. He had a Bible right there, but we know Hitler did some atrocities.
Right.
And
It was just millions of people, and he was a
Wow.
bad dude.
Mm-hmm.
Did Jesus love him?
I think I don't. I mean, I'm not going to speak for Jesus Christ, but I will say
Listen.
that some were destined
Listen, in the
to
Bible, it says love your enemies, but guess what? They're still enemies.
Be, yeah,
What?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The enemies are still
Yeah,
there.
Hitler was one of those.
Yeah.
100%.
Look, I can love my enemy, but I can put you down as well.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
True.
I can put you down as well.
I can love you while you're going down,
Yeah.
but you're my enemy.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I'm going to do what's right.
Yeah. I'm gonna love that I'm putting you down. That's what I'm gonna love.
Wow. Okay. So we're getting off to a good start,
yeah, here
guys.
we
I'll
go.
tell you what. Let me go ahead. I'm going to just jump in, Mike. We all have big stuff to say about big tech. Let's just talk about this. Prior to the 2020 election, tech companies, including Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, here's a good one, Discord,
Oh, yeah.
Wikipedia, Microsoft, LinkedIn, and Verizon. Okay, I just learned this. They met on a monthly basis with the FBI and the CISA. I looked that up and I can't remember what the CISA is. Look that up.
Yeah, let me pull that
It's
up.
something
really quick.
about
Jamie, pull it up.
yeah. Yeah. Keep saying. So they met monthly with the FBI, the CISA, and other government representatives.
Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency.
That makes sense.
That does make sense.
They met monthly with them. According to, this is where it's according to the NBC News, the meetings were part of an initiative still ongoing between private sector and government to discuss how firms would handle misinformation during the election.
Right.
So you have actual meetings between the government and these big, huge companies to talk about how y'all going to handle this stuff.
About how they're not going to respect the First Amendment, basically.
Yeah. Right. After we transformed from an agricultural-based society, which we all used to be, it was all agriculture in this country, and we kind of went and morphed into a industrial age, which meant big plants, big manufacturing companies. The government got involved to figure out who was going to be the winners and losers in America. Like, what company are we going to prop up and be, the big players? There was quite a large amount of players on that stage. Now, since we have the industrial age, we transformed into the information age. This is flipped, where there's just a few businesses that control 90% of your life, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the enforcing arm is the government.
Wow.
Yep. Because it's a huge part of everyone's life. Like, we're all old enough to remember pre-internet, you know?
The good old days.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And when you compare those days and how we're living today, it's astonishing how much of your life is actually on the internet these days.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, think about the info that you can get. And the government is doing the bidding for big tech companies, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So big tech companies currently wield more power than any government on earth, and the U.S. government is in their pocket. No, that's scary.
Wow.
All right, here, I'll give you some context if you don't believe me. February 2022, here is a text message that was intercepted, and this is from Microsoft executive Matt Masterson. And guess what? This is weird when I find out people who are in powerful positions at companies like this guy. He's an executive at Microsoft. Guess what he formerly was? He was a DHS official. Don't you find that funny? I've seen that all over the place. You'll see people that work in these companies. They used to be over here in these big government.
Yeah, there's always a huge conflict of interest.
Yes.
Like someone that works at the FDA is, formerly working at Pfizer or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you're working at Amazon.
Yeah.
So he was a DHS official. Okay, so Matt Masterson sent a text to Jen Easterly, which is a DHS director. So you got this Microsoft executive texting a DHS director. Here's the quote. Platforms have got to get comfortable with government. It's really interesting how hesitant they remain.
Okay.
What? Y'all have got to get comfortable with the government, meaning you're in our pocket.
Right.
Y'all need to stop being so hesitant about us being part of your life and how we're going to control.
You're going to have to get used to this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's amazing. In real time, we saw this in the 2020 election. We saw it in Jeffrey Epstein.
He didn't kill himself.
We saw that, right. The Hunter Biden laptop, Ashley Biden's diary, countless individuals and companies have been banned and censored on platforms. So big tech and government, that is a huge problem. And I mentioned in the, my opening, we've invited this stuff
Absolutely.
into our house.
Yes.
It's hard to sit back and go or complain about it because, every one of us has devices. I use Google Chrome. I shouldn't, but we all know big government and big tech is there, but we use it and we're involved in it. So we see the benefit of it, right? We can see the goodness. Who won last year's SEC championship?
Right.
Stuff like that. If it was just that stuff, and me texting Jason, or we have a group text, because we have a group text for this show. All three of us text and share information. I mean, we're just living life. Last night we played Ghost Recon, and I'm at my house. Jason's at his house. That's big tech. That's internet. Right. See, we want that stuff.
Right.
But what we don't want is the government saying, "Hey, you can't say that."
Right.
Hey, you can't do that. Hey, if you protest, we're gonna freeze your bank accounts.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we don't want. How do you fight against that, even though we want all this stuff I just mentioned?
It's not even, it's that aspect too. It's also the aspect where now we have to consent to letting them get into all of our data, all of our all of our data that we have just on our phones. And if you want to use, Microsoft, you have to consent and agree to all their terms.
Yeah. And no one reads that stuff.
I mean, who does?
Yeah.
No.
Same with TikTok, Facebook, all those things. You can't have a phone without consenting to the terms before you turn it on. If you buy a new phone, they access your pictures. They actually all your storage.
Yeah.
The microphone, everything.
Have you ever seen, like Google will send me a timeline like at the end of the year,
Mm-hmm.
it'll show me all the places I visited.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you ever watched that? And you're like, oh, okay, I remember going there, and they show you the map. Going, oh, I went to Branson. Oh, I went to Niagara Falls, and I'm thinking, okay, I've got this. Somebody else can see this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Somebody else has access to
Didn't they
where
sell that
I've been, where I'm going, what shops I visited.
Yep.
What who did you rate? I rated a barbershop or whatever, a cake store.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to get ads for that. Yeah, somebody else has. I don't know if it's nefarious or some guy sitting in the basement, oh my gosh, he went to Niagara Falls. I don't know if it's, I mean, who cares if I went to Niagara Falls? A lot of people's like, who cares? But at the end of the day, the overarching umbrella of big government, big brother, it's just not right.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
Yeah.
And I don't feel there's anything I can do about it.
Let me get off the grid. That's the only thing you could do.
Yeah, because basically by, agreeing to the terms and conditions of a lot of these, big tech platforms and, cell phone user agreements and stuff like that, you're basically voluntarily giving over all of your data, as part of the agreement.
Yeah, and you're supposed you're supposed to think that, okay, I'm doing that, but I'm doing it for that company. The company's not going to do anything nefarious to me.
Right.
But it's still there, and you don't know where that data, you don't know who that data. Yeah. We saw Verizon give up millions of data points to, who do they give that to, the government?
I think so, yeah. That's the case with a lot of this stuff is there's, we obviously live in a country with, and I think most countries are like this, with a large federal government that's overreaching with a lack of transparency, and they have their fingers in everything. Behind the scenes at all these big tech companies, we're going to find out that they have very close relations with the leadership of a lot of these big tech companies, and they're working together to do things. So it's a big problem. It's a huge problem because it violates the First Amendment, like we'll get into when we start unpacking this censorship stuff. The Fourth Amendment, obviously, because they're basically able to sniff all your data and they don't need a warrant for it. They just go through it as they please. And we're just voluntarily giving it to them. And they're able to basically do all this stuff, and they say, well, they're a private company.
Yeah, they're a private company. Yeah, we can't do anything about it.
Yeah, but they're working in concert with the government to go around the Constitution, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go ahead and bullet point Amazon, Google, YouTube, which is owned by Google, Facebook, Apple, and Microsoft. Those are pretty much the big players on the global stage right now. Now, outside of China, Apple and Google control more than 95% of the App Store markets through iOS and Android. Mm-hmm. Which, at the beginning, I thought, okay, there's apps I need to use for the phone. It's an app store. I get it. Mm-hmm. But now it's like, because really, there's only two phones, right? There's Android and there's iOS.
Right, yeah.
That's it. There's no other software phone. Now, wait a minute. Google owns Android, so they have the Google Pixel.
Right. Yeah, and being able to control who's in the App Store, that's a relevant point you just brought up, because do you guys remember Parler a few years ago? Mm-hmm. So Parler was gaining a lot of popularity because they were going to be, like an alt tech platform. They call them alt tech if they're not part of big tech. And it was doing pretty well. I think it was around the time that Trump got kicked off, and Trump's like, I'm going over to Parler. Yep, and a lot of people were going over there too. And they just unlisted them from the App Store.
Well, they suspended them.
Well, that's what they're trying to do. That's what you're trying to do with Twitter.
Yeah, I heard whispers of that too.
Elon Musk was like, "Well, if you do that, I'm gonna short your shares. I'm gonna sell your shares to Microsoft." Microsoft said,
"Is that what happened?"
Yeah,
I was wondering because I heard that there was a thing. There was said Apple threatened to remove all the advertising off Twitter. And he was going to remove Twitter from the App Store. Then I heard that Elon and Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, had a meeting, and Tim Cook said, no, that was never my intention.
I'm sure he said that.
But I don't know what happened at that meeting. Right. I would have loved to have been at that
would
have
been a very interesting meeting.
But what? So I didn't know that what you're talking about, the short of the shares.
Yeah, let me see. I can pull it up.
Because I think someone asked Elon on Twitter if they did unlist Twitter from the App Store, would he create like a rival phone with like its own App Store? And I think he said he would.
I heard that. Yeah. He said, I'll make a phone.
Yeah.
Would it be a well, of course he could create one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, he's got the material. Look at the space program.
Yeah.
He could just take one of those rockets.
He could easily do it.
Make a phone. What would he call it?
No idea.
Let's just go ahead and throw some names.
So it says Twitter owner Elon Musk claimed on Monday in a series of tweets that Apple had threatened to remove the Twitter app from the App Store as part of its app review moderation process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which that right there, you could argue that is like a form of like monopoly, right? Because you're able to squash competition if you want to, and you're like, oh, Parler, that's they're all alt-right over there. That's a platform for racists. We're just gonna get them out of here.
Are they back on now?
I don't think so. I think they got crushed.
Are you? No, well, no, they're doing good.
Parler?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Because they cracked the top 10.
Yeah, they did. They came back.
I didn't know they came back.
Let me look. Let me see if they're on the. Hold on. This is real time, guys. I'm looking for Parler. Yeah, they're back. Google Play.
Okay, they're back.
They're back on the Play Store. I'm not sure iOS because I don't use iOS. That's interesting. We'll get into this in a minute because I don't know. Do you know much about Section 230?
No.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. I think that's one of the things that has government has tried to help the public is Section 230, and we'll get into that. That's in Congress. Outside, okay, I mentioned that. Okay, here's something interesting. 71% of Americans get their news content via social media platforms. I believe that.
100%, yeah.
So even though it's probably one of the mainstream media outlets, because a couple of years ago you could search on YouTube for a news story and you could get people just commentating.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have switched it and made only the mainstream media be the videos that you get in your search results. They're at the very top of the page.
Yes.
And you have to scroll down to find anybody else that's going to be talking about that news story.
Yep.
Which I think is...
And dude, like the government's involved heavily in YouTube now as well. Have you heard anything about that?
No.
Like when they were having their big, marketing push for the COVID-19 vaccinations, they enlisted the help of what they called like trusted content creators and basically paid people on YouTube to push it.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I knew they were doing that with influencers.
Yeah.
Like on Instagram? Oh, okay. I didn't know they were doing that with content creators on YouTube.
Yeah, they were doing it with YouTube. They're on a bunch of different platforms.
All right. I don't know if y'all knew this, but today there's 6 media giants that control 90% of what we read, watch, and listen to. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
You ready for these 6 media giants? 90%. Comcast / NBC Universal, number 1. Disney / ABC. CBS. So there's the top 3 networks we used to only be back in the 80s, only 3 on my TV. Viacom, News Corporation, and AT&T. Those are the 6 media giants. Okay, so these 6 corporations are giving us the illusion of choice and objectivity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're thinking, oh, we're giving them choice.
Who owns those companies? Like,
oh, you mean the
those
actual person?
The people. They.
Oh, I don't know. I know Disney's owned by George Lucas. Oh wait, no, they bought.
No, they bought.
They bought
Star
that. Oh, I know Bob Iger, but that's just the CEO. I don't know who owns it.
Yeah.
Maybe George Soros owns all of them.
Probably.
You know what I'm saying?
So does
The rise of the internet has given these companies unprecedented power to control public policy, to swing elections, to brainwash our children, to censor content, to track our every move, to tear societies apart, and to alter the human mind, and even re-engineer humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Absolutely.
I just made that up.
It works.
I'm kidding. That's all the bullet points I have on big tech. That just kind of gives us a big, huge overview, kind of a helicopter view of what we're talking about today. Mike, you have something interesting about that really goes back to the beginning of this, before Facebook was created.
Yeah, we can talk about Facebook and its connection to a DARPA program, which was called LifeLog.
LifeLog.
Yeah, so for people that don't know, DARPA, that's part of the U.S. Department of Defense, and it stands for Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency.
They got to have...
And that happened
initials
right
for everything.
after 9/11, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
What? That far back?
Yep. So DARPA and the U.S. DoD, they were already around, but this LifeLog project became, a thing after 9/11,
right.
which is, we talked about 9/11. So many things happened.
Right.
That seems to be like the linchpin of
the catalyst. Yeah.
Yes. So what LifeLog is it was aimed to compile a massive electronic database of every activity and relationship a person engages in. Okay. So this was to include, credit card purchases, websites visited, the content of telephone calls and emails sent and received, all sorts of different things, instant messages.
So like a log of our lives.
Yes, a log of your life.
LifeLog.
Yes. Yeah.
Who comes up with this stuff?
I don't know.
Yep. And there's some really weird things about LifeLog and Facebook that we're about to unpack here. So what I'm about to present, I borrowed heavily from some research I found online from a guy named Don Romeo. So thank you, Don Romeo, for putting this all together. Yeah, he really put it all together in a way that, I fact checked it too. He knows his stuff. So this is going to leave like no doubt for like a reasonably intelligent person that there is a link here between
the keyword.
Okay, reasonably
yes.
intelligent.
Yeah. Yes, or it would be like an astonishing coincidence.
Right.
So I'll start this off by saying that LifeLog. So I'll get into a little bit of more information about it. So let's see. After 9/11. Which, like we said, is where all recent major problems seem to originate from.
Absolutely.
DARPA, in close collaboration with the U.S. intelligence community, specifically the CIA, began developing a pre-crime approach to combating terrorism known as TIA, which stands for Total Information Awareness.
Wow.
And the purpose of TIA was to develop an all-seeing military surveillance apparatus. The official excuse behind TIA was that invasive surveillance of the entire U.S. population was necessary to prevent two things: terrorist attacks and disease outbreaks.
What?
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
Wow.
It's always those two things.
Disease outbreaks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like Minority Report.
Yeah.
It does. It really does.
Pre-crime.
Pre-crime.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, how did they, so are you going to go into how they decided if Mike Jones was going to commit a crime?
Like how they would do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll brush on that for sure. But I mean, some of that's under the hood. Some of that we probably don't know. But yeah, so the leader and designer was a guy named John Poindexter, who was previously Ronald Reagan's national security advisor.
That's his name?
Poindexter.
Wow.
I've heard of this guy.
Yes. And the TIA program was met with considerable citizen outrage after it was revealed to the public in early 2003. The ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union, claimed that the surveillance effort would essentially kill privacy in America because every aspect of our lives would be cataloged. Okay? While several mainstream media outlets warned that the TIA was fighting terror by terrifying U.S. citizens, as a result of the pressure, DARPA changed the program's name to Terrorist Information Awareness. So when you're met with public scrutiny, just change the name.
Change the name.
Terrorist Public.
Yeah, so it's still TIA. It's not total information.
So let's make it
awareness.
less scary.
Yeah. Hey, they're on to us. Change the name.
Yeah, change the name, dude. Change it to terrorist.
They'll never know.
So then, trick the stupid people so they'll be like, oh, I'm not a terrorist. That's fine.
So
it doesn't apply to me.
Yeah, it doesn't apply to me.
So the end game for this program was I want to prevent terrorist acts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the guise of what. So they're like, we're going to set up this clandestine surveillance operation to fight terrorists and disease outbreaks.
Yeah.
That's why we want it. So yeah, that's sort of, setting the stage for it, right?
Yeah.
And now today we'll start looking at Facebook here because there's
so fast forward.
Yeah, we're gonna fast forward a little bit. So LifeLog obviously, was met with such public scrutiny when it was announced, and LifeLog officially closed on February 3rd, 2004, and DARPA never provided an explanation for its quiet move to shutter LifeLog, with a spokesperson stating only that it related to, quote, a change in priorities for the agency. And then here's the weird thing. The very next day, on February 4th, 2004, Facebook was officially launched. Okay? And wait a minute. There were some candid interviews given where people... So DARPA's program manager, Douglas Gage, he himself told Vice that Facebook is the real face of the pseudo LifeLog at this point. So
it makes sense.
Yeah,
it does.
Voluntarily give your
voluntarily.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And
tell everybody here's a log. Here's my name. Here's who I'm married to. If I want to put my address, my phone number, everything here it is.
I mean, now Facebook can gather your location. You can see the location of the person on Facebook.
Oh yeah, you can see anything. Yeah.
Everything. Yeah. I didn't know that until recently.
And it's on record that figures in the Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp group, now called Meta, are...
The metaverse?
Yeah, are figures in or related to the FBI, the NSA, the CIA, and DARPA itself. And we'll name some of these people.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's kind of important to know that, a lot of the people that just think this is, a private company that was, that's apparently run by a couple of college nerds,
Can we just camp on that for a sec? Because I've always thought this was the brainchild of we want to communicate on campus with other students.
Yeah, that's how it started.
That's how this
is. That real though? In 2004 when it launched, is that, or was there a precursor to that?
Yeah, so when it first started, you used to
because it wasn't public, right?
Yeah, you used to have a .edu email to join.
Okay.
Okay.
But that was the initial 2004 when it launched. It was on campus.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it started in colleges. Yes.
Harvard?
Started in Harvard.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then it expanded to like other Ivy Leagues, and then it went to state colleges.
So it was basically campus, and then, let's talk to this other campus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's exchange ideas. It sounds like a good idea on paper.
Yeah, and if you watch that movie, The Social Network, they get into some of that about how it started and, how it grew.
Have you seen The Social Dilemma?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Was that on Netflix?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Go watch that with your wife. Make sure the lights are off. And then...
just get scared.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, put your phone... Make sure your phones are off.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so kind of let's talk about what Facebook is. So like when you think about Facebook and what it's actually doing behind the scenes, Facebook is the world's most powerful ever intelligence network.
Yes.
No one in America outspies the NSA, but Facebook does.
That's crazy. I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
it's true.
Yeah, so now you can kind of see like how it's hard to see how Facebook, run by a couple college nerds, would be able to run a competitor to the U.S. intelligence community on U.S. soil without them coming in and taking over.
Are you telling me? All right, let me just break this down for a minute in my brain. Are you saying that LifeLog, was handed over to these college kids, or did they come up with the idea themselves, or
that one? I think.
Do you think they handed this blueprint?
No. So I think that Zuckerberg created a social network and he got it off the ground faster and
better, more efficient.
Yeah, and better than what the government was able to do. And they're like,
with LifeLog,
right?
Okay.
And they were like, let's scrap this, and penetrate the cabinet of this company, and that will be LifeLog.
Let's infiltrate.
Okay, so they didn't actually go, hey, let's shut down and pretend we shut down and we really reopened under Facebook, and we've got these two puppets.
No.
That really didn't happen.
That really didn't happen.
That sounds like that'd be a good story.
It's cyber espionage, basically.
Yeah.
So they said, they came up with you know why? Because the government they suck.
Have you been to the DMV?
They suck.
It's terrible.
That's why. And they let two guys with good ideas,
yes,
and let them flourish and go, hey, that works. Let's take advantage of that.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
And so there's no way that the Pentagon would allow an independent company to not give them full access and control of a U.S. military asset of this enormity, of this magnitude. So, some things are absolutely impossible, and, Facebook running the world's largest ever spy network without being taken over by, the U.S. government is one of those things.
Wow.
And so now a moment ago I was talking about, people with ties to the FBI, NSA, CIA in Facebook. This includes Sean Parker. So he has ties to the CIA. They recruited him when he was just 16. And he's the first ever president of Facebook. And if you go watch that Social Network movie, you can kind of see the role he plays. He's played by Justin Timberlake. And you really see how he just like gets in the company and just really takes over right from the very beginning, right when it was just getting started. Very interesting stuff.
So he was an asset.
Cyber espionage.
Yeah. So
he was recruited by the CIA?
When he was 16. Yeah, he won a computer science.
Why did Zuckerberg, I'm sorry to mean to interrupt, computer science?
He won a computer science competition when he was 16 for developing a web crawler, and the CIA recruited him after that. Yeah, so he's a really brainy guy, and he was always in the computer labs, like learning how to code and stuff. He convinced like his teachers to allow the work that he was doing in the computer lab, teaching himself programming, to count for his foreign language requirement for graduation.
Ingenious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So he was doing stuff like that.
That was Sean Parker?
That was Sean Parker.
Okay, so and CIA saw that and went, hey, let's recruit him.
Mm-hmm.
So he's actually a CIA agent. And then was he an agent when he became the president of Facebook?
I mean,
or did he say, no,
that's what we don't.
Was he undercover or did he quit?
That's the impossible question, right? Because like,
oh, wow.
you never know.
That's something we should get to the bottom of.
Right. And when we were talking about like, Operation Mockingbird, like Anderson Cooper interned 2 times for the CIA, and now he's like the face of CNN. So like, you never know, like, if these people are still working with the CIA behind the scenes, but chances are their relationships were probably maintained to some degree, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I believe anyway. And then you have Max Kelly, who has ties to the FBI and NSA.
Who's that?
So he was chief security officer of Facebook. Yep.
Remember what I just said? How these people keep popping up in weird corporations, but they have ties to the government?
Yep. And you have Regina Dukin. She has ties to DARPA. She was actually the head of Facebook's mysterious Building 8, which is considered some sort of skunkworks secret projects department. That's where all their top secret stuff goes on, is Building 8 at Facebook. Marn Levine. So she was the first COO of Instagram. And let's see, she is the daughter-in-law of the former director of the CIA and previously worked at the U.S. Treasury Department. Let's see, Joel Kaplan, who was in the White House Chiefs of Staff for George Bush. Now, let's see, what did he do at Facebook? He was one of the vice presidents of global public policy for Facebook. So pretty crazy stuff. And this guy who, outlined all this stuff, he actually ran a little experiment. So he didn't have a Facebook account, and he decided to make an anonymous one without his real name, date of birth, passport photo, or any other personal information that Facebook uniquely demands. And he found that it wasn't possible. It locked him out and demanded that he provide a photo, either a copy of his passport or his driver's license. And you really have to think about that for a minute, because like presumably a civilian socializing site is demanding your actual passport to make an account. So when you think about it, like when you give that information, it's usually like an employer or something government related.
Right. Yeah.
No other website does that. Like you can make, like a Reddit account and stuff like that.
Right.
Without it. So what he did next is he searched for an informal photo of some random person of his gender and roughly his age to get his account unlocked. And he uploaded the photo, and it gave him like a message saying, our staff will check the validity of this picture as a representation of you.
What is it? What is this for?
He's making a Facebook account.
Oh.
Yeah. This is like an experiment he did to see like what goes on, basically. This is nowadays. I created a Facebook account long ago, like back in like 2008.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to do all this. But
no, I didn't either.
This is like when you create one nowadays.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
I don't have a Facebook account.
That's
no,
good.
You don't.
That's good. I might delete mine after I read it.
I think I'm going to.
Yeah.
So I started one in 2006, and then I had it up, then deleted it, and then completely deleted it and I never even posted anything. Like I had up like 2 posts from like 2006, maybe 2008, and then completely deleted it maybe 2 years ago. And so I tried to see if I could get back on and see if the data was still there. And some of the data is still there, but not all of it. My profile picture will still come up, but when you log in, all the data is scrubbed off of the pages. So it's just my name, not even my last name, and the picture I had, and that's it.
Oh,
interesting.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't know that you had to do all that now.
Yeah, so
so I could try to. We should do this experiment.
Yeah, and so let's continue on with what happened. So he uploaded a photo that was not him, but it very well could have been, right? Because it's a guy his age.
Yeah, who knows?
Look somewhat like him.
Why can't I get a picture of a dog?
Right. And when you think about like what's going on here, like it doesn't seem plausible. Like no business would spend resources on something like validating the authenticity or accuracy of your free account for a user.
Right.
Right? Because it costs money. Not a genuine social network anyway, because it doesn't increase their profit. There's no money in that. And it costs a lot of money. You have to pay people wages to check all the tens, or in the case of Facebook, like hundreds of thousands of profiles being made. There's billions of users.
Yes, billions.
Yeah. So that would cost, a tremendous amount of money to do this. And basically, what came back, the photo was rejected. How did they know it wasn't him? Well, they made it their business to know that it wasn't him. Okay? So
what?
Yeah. And,
I'm doing this after the show. I'm doing this experiment.
You're doing this? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. See what happens.
And then next week I'll update you and let you know.
Yeah. So basically, he wasn't able to make his fake Facebook account because they have these checks in place.
I didn't think you had to have a picture. Like I could leave my profile picture, or I used to. You could leave it blank.
Yeah, do what he did. Try and make an account, and
I'm not going to upload anything.
Yeah, give a name that is not your name. Give a picture that is not you, and see what happens.
You know what I'm going to do? Because I'm adopted.
Okay.
I've got a real. My name. I was adopted. Well, I don't know if I should say this now because they'll hear me.
Yeah.
I was born as Bobby O'Neill Robinson.
Right. Okay. I didn't know that.
That was my birth certificate name. I was adopted and it changed to Charles Byron Dice. So I will try to create
allegedly.
Yeah, right. I will try to create a Bobby O'Neill Robinson account, which that's a person that does not exist because I was adopted.
But it does exist because.
Well, I mean, how are they going to prove it? Well, they're going to have to prove who is this guy. They don't know what Bobby looks like.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, so like when you think about what these people are probably doing with the amount of data they're getting in, like 2 to 3 billion humans, giving this company, this government affiliated company, their personal data about everything, their lifestyle for nearly like 2 decades.
Yes.
Yeah.
2004.
That has to be the most powerful data set that's ever been processed. And when you think about
and then they bought Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. And when you think about like the predictive might of like 1 trillion human data points, like what they could do with that,
what can they do?
Westworld.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Westworld?
Yeah.
Oh man,
dude, that's scary. Talk about AI.
Talk about collection of data.
Right. In the hat.
Yeah.
So what they could do is they could
the brain scans.
Seriously. It's along those lines because they could take that data, which, is relational, behavioral, psychological, feed that into a quantum computer and calculate any and probably every eventuality of what someone could do, what they might do.
Predictive. Yeah. So that plays into the pre-crime.
Right. Yes.
So instead of in Minority Report, they had those weird people in the water. What were they called? They could see the future.
I don't know.
Savants, prophets.
I remember though.
Something.
Okay.
Anyway, instead of those guys, we're using real data points on predictability
and data forms.
Right, of what's Jason going to do.
Yeah.
Did he go to the market and buy some apples, or did he buy oranges?
Yeah, so we have all these people spying on themselves, essentially, without even asking for a DOD salary.
Yeah. Dude, that's have you ever seen Person of Interest?
No.
With Jim Caviezel? You need to watch that show. It is exactly what you're talking about. They created a machine to basically surveillance people to try under the guise of terrorist to find out who's going to do what.
Yeah.
And then the machine, they decided not to turn it on, and the machine still spit out numbers because they could figure out somebody's going to get killed. Yes. Somebody's going to get murdered, and they would pop out there. I think it was their social, or it would give a number.
Okay.
And they would go the whole show. It's an hour show. The whole show, they're trying to figure out, this person's going to get killed, or they're either getting killed or they're doing something bad.
Right.
And the machine predictably told them what's going to happen based on data points.
Again, Westworld. that mega computer that the two Frenchmen created.
Yeah, what was that guy's name? Omicron?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, there's
Obadiah?
Something like that.
There's a Black Mirror episode me and my wife watched last night. It's called The Entire History of You. Have you guys ever seen that show?
I've watched Black Mirror, but I don't remember that episode.
Yeah, it's in the first season. I think it's episode 3. There's like a little grain that's like embedded in your body behind your ear.
What?
And it's connected to like your sight. So anything you see is like recorded. And like if I had a job interview or something, and I could like throw it up on the screen for you guys to watch, so you could like see how I did in my job interview. And
okay, so we're actually seeing the guy across the desk.
You're seeing what I saw.
Oh.
Yeah, and like before he gets on a flight and everything, he gets stopped at the security checkpoint, and they're like, all right, go back for your last 2 weeks at times 64 speed. And they're
my God.
Yeah, and they're like looking at everything. It's like doing the facial recognition on everyone.
And they're trying to make sure he's not doing something nefarious.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Dude, that's another level of surveillance.
Yeah. That's why I love the show so much, because like it just shows where all this is possibly heading.
Neuralink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's change gears and talk about, since we're just talking about that. Everybody's like Elon Musk. He's a transhumanism.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, he wants to merge AI with our brains.
Cyborgs.
Yes.
Yeah.
He may be the savior and, he bought Twitter and free speech, but at the end of the day, this guy is...
Yes.
That's where he wants to take us.
And Mars. He wants to take us to Mars, too.
A lot of his views actually line up pretty heavily with the World Economic Forum. There was actually
Klaus Schwab.
Yes. There was actually a few things where people put side-by-side tweets of like the World Economic Forum and Elon where they like matched. Yeah, he's like pro-vaccine passport and a lot of other things. But he's more free speech than a lot of them, obviously. But yeah, he does hold some questionable views. And the transhumanism thing is weird.
It's very strange that he's been thrust to this position, and he's the way he is about free speech. So it's a very twisted thing, because you would expect somebody like that to not be.
Do you think he's controlled opposition?
I don't know. It's very. I don't know. This whole thing is weird, because let's just say 5 years ago, we could see all the corruption of big government and the censorship, and then all of a sudden you got this big tech giant being bought by a millionaire that makes Tesla cars and sends rockets up, and he buys it under the guise of, hey, free speech should be, and it's just this whole thing's kind of weird.
It is.
Wouldn't you agree? It's like
definitely weird.
Everybody always thinks that the government's going to step in, like Section 230, and break up. You remember the Bells, the mom and pop Bells, back in the 80s? The government had to break up AT&T.
Okay, yeah.
Y'all know about this?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so they had to break them up because they had a monopoly on the phones. So everybody's always thinking, the government needs to step in and break up these platforms because they have a monopoly. Well, personally, I don't think that's the answer, because of capitalism and
sure,
individual. Hey, I made it, but I don't know if government should step in and tear somebody apart. Let's talk about this real quick. Since you mentioned it, because people do go, well, it's a private company.
Right.
Why can't they censor? Why can't they do what they want to do?
That's their argument right now. So
what do you think about that?
My own personal beliefs is I think that if a company wants to do business in the United States, I think they have to abide by the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, all of that stuff. I think there probably needs to be at this point a digital Bill of Rights, an internet Bill of Rights that is more or less a copy of the Bill of Rights. Because data is really like the new gold, right? Like you have these companies that can basically take your data and do whatever they want to it. They can sell it to advertisers. They can run it through their, quantum computers to do predictive programming and things like that.
Jaboam.
What?
Jaboam.
What is that?
Jaboam.
Westworld.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. You just clicked it when you said supercomputer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so like these things, I think you should have more rights on how your data is used, and it should be kind of protected under the Fourth Amendment, I think. I think you should expect a reasonable level of security and encryption on your data, and if they want that data, they need a warrant.
Don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me play devil's advocate here.
Okay, do it.
But don't we still have a choice? We still have a choice not to subscribe.
Absolutely.
Not to accept.
Yeah.
Though those decisions may be tough because we're in a digital world.
Yes.
We still have a choice not to. So I think those things that we have, cell phones, Xbox, PlayStations, all these things.
Love our gadgets.
Yeah, they're extra.
They are. Yeah.
It's convenience. It's for leisure. It's not something that we need. So
for an individual, that's true.
Yeah,
that is true.
But if you want to start like a podcast or a business, though,
yes. And actually, I was listening to this this representative, a Missouri representative. She was talking about that. She goes, I agree, but also I don't agree, because if you need to get a job, most applications are online,
digital. Yeah.
True.
So I guess in one hand that is true, but also the other hand it's not true. Mm-hmm. But at the fundamental, like, I guess, choice is you still have it. You still have that choice, whether you can go, to Wyoming and get off the grid, or stay in, Omaha.
It's still a personal choice.
Yeah.
But I think to the point of, if the other is my choice as a personal choice, I still want
regulations.
The ability. Yeah, I still want the ability to say, for instance, so it's because we talk about the public town square.
Right.
So if I ran out in the street right now and I said, "Hey, bears don't hibernate," and I shouted that out, I got free speech. I can do that.
But
now,
you don't.
But who heard that? Or I can go on Facebook and go, "Bears don't hibernate." Who's going to see that? And who's going to go, you can't say that?
But you have an illusion of free speech, because you can't go outside and say whatever you want. You can. You can't go to a movie theater and scream in their fire.
Yes, you can.
You can, but you can.
If there's a fire.
If there's a fire,
you can scream it.
But if there's not, then there's going to be repercussions, and it's censored to a point. You can't have hate speech. You can't go and say these things. I was listening to I hate that I reference this NPR. I can't stand it.
But you listen to it all the time.
I do, because I like to get their crazy.
Yeah, how about their voice is so mellow?
I hate it
on NPR.
I can't stand it. I sometimes will turn it on and then I just immediately turn it off. But this lady, she was a law professor at Stanford, and she was talking. One of her talking points was, we really don't have freedom of speech to the extent of total freedom. Total freedom. We don't have total freedom. The Bill of Rights, our Constitution, gives probably the closest in the world to that, but it's still not complete freedom, because we have regulations, we have limitations of things that we can say, things like hate speech and things like that we can't. So,
yeah, but who's making that rule?
Wait, hate speech.
Hate speech is not a thing.
You can still say that, right?
Hate speech is not a thing,
because there's no legal definition.
No. It's just speech that you hate. which you're saying, don't say that because I hate it. Well, no, I can say it because I got the freedom to.
But yeah, like kind of what Jason was saying, like they're trying to like shift that Overton window of like the First Amendment and what you can and can't say, like the fire in a movie theater, right?
Yeah.
Like that's dangerous if you say that and it's not true.
Right. So that's not true.
So they're almost trying to do like sort of the Orwellian thought crime stuff. Like where if something is not true, you don't have the right to say it.
Right.
But you have the right to lie to me. You can do that.
Yeah, sure.
That's fine. You can
do it.
Bears
don't hibernate.
Yeah, you could lie.
And then it's up to you to find out the truth and then call me out on it.
Right. Yes. So I think the best solution for misinformation stuff is daylight, you know, like just let it be.
Oh, yeah. The sunlight.
If someone says something that's so wrong and stupid, if it's out there, reasonably intelligent people
are going to call them out and know what to, know how to.
But some people will be fooled by it. That's for sure true. But at a certain point, like we would end up in a hyper-regulated environment if we're,
right, exactly.
you know, like and that would be very problematic.
That's what we don't want, right? We don't want to be super regulated by the government.
Well, who is like that?
Chinese.
CCP. The Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
They are absolutely like that.
Yeah.
You see the people right now?
I have been watching it.
Have you seen them protest? I mean, they're like, it's going to explode over there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're locking them in their doors. Yeah. They're locking them in quarantine camps. I saw somebody pick up food that he ordered off his porch and take it off.
Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't get to it because he couldn't open his door.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
He couldn't open his door?
No, they're locked.
Oh, weird.
From the outside, you can't get out of your house.
And the community, if you're on the outside and you're quarantined, the community members will go and like hold you up in your house and not let you out.
Yeah, and these, you know what?
And this is all over China?
Yes.
Oof.
They have the most, and it's COVID. That's what this is. It's COVID lockdowns. It's the most.
They're lying about their numbers too, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
For
and
sure.
Fauci said that. Fauci said
the whole time.
Fauci said that the Chinese method was what was needed here.
I'm sure he did say that.
He agreed with that. Mm-hmm. The whole lockdowns, anyway.
Yeah, and Trudeau was like, oh, you know, like he was like praising them because he's like, yeah, they can turn their economy on a dime because of their dictatorship and they can go green real quick and all that. Yeah, it's weird.
That guy is. I just, some people when they talk, I'm like, that's my enemy.
Right. It's like listening to NPR.
You. Yeah. And today we have
you're like,
Jason's in studio.
Ugh, gross. Turn it off.
Today we're going to talk about how bears don't hibernate. Let's wrap it up, guys. Talking about Twitter.
The election meddling.
This is real time. Well, I'm just going to read a headline real quick because this is in the news right now as we speak because Elon Musk just dropped a bunch of threads on Twitter that unmasked censorship in 2020. Okay, so I'm just going to read real quick. Elon Musk and an independent journalist, Matt Taibbi.
Yeah, that's close enough.
On Friday, unveiled what drove former Twitter executives to suppress the New York Post Hunter Biden laptop? Help me, Jason. Laptop story in the weeks leading to the 2020 presidential election. If you go to Twitter right now, if you type in the Twitter files, that's what they're dubbing this as. There's tons of tweets where they show that they actually were coordinated by the government to delete tweets off of Twitter. Mm-hmm. And there was a thread that went around that basically said, hey, there's a lot of Biden files that have come in. Can you handle these? And then the response with the executive at Twitter said, yeah, I just handled it. And then it shows a list of threads, Twitter threads that were actually deleted. So that's going on right now. I would hope that because this is coming out in the light that there's got to be some kind of repercussion to this. You would think that, hey, y'all did that. I don't think that's right. But like, we always hear this stuff hindsight, or is that the right? Is
yeah,
it
this
hindsight?
is way after it happened.
We always hear it after, and we never do anything to stop it again.
Right.
Because I feel like the 2022 elections, the midterms, the same thing happened. We saw it before, and I'm like, what are people doing to stop this?
If only we had a computer that could predict these things.
Yeah, seriously. So
Jaboam.
So like, what needs to happen? Does the DOJ need to get involved and actually like say, hey?
But I think they're corrupt.
I think so too. But like, all the information's out there now. But now, where does it go? What happens?
It's like
where it always goes.
Yeah, it'll just get memory hold.
Mm-hmm. Who is running things? That's the question. Like, we see this information and we're like, something needs to be done. But I got to go to work Monday. I got to play Xbox with Jason. Yeah. What am I supposed to do? I can't do anything.
These elite groups, the Illuminati and such, run these things. Mm-hmm. That's what's going on. That's who's running these things.
Really?
Yeah.
So there's a meeting somewhere, whether it's in a basement or at the top or at the penthouse.
Ritz-Carlton.
Council of Foreign Relations.
Yeah.
They're there.
Hey, by the way, this is December 3rd. Not sure when this is going to be published, probably in a couple of weeks. But in January, we've got a Secret Society series coming up.
That's what I was alluding to, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Secret societies are coming up very quickly. And I think what we have on the books is like the Bilderberg Group.
Yeah.
The Jesuits.
Illuminati.
Yeah. The Illuminati.
Masons.
Yep.
Masons.
Oh, yeah, the Masons.
Yeah.
There's a
Roman
Masonic
Club
temple
of
in
Rome
town.
or something.
The
Masons got
Knights of Templar?
Yeah, I think
that's one of them.
Yeah,
but anyway,
we'll talk about
get ready
these.
for that, guys, because that's coming up. That's going to be a series that we're doing, and it's going to be back to back. I don't know how I got off on that. So there's a Twitter staff. He's going to be grilled before Congress for censoring Hunter Biden laptop story.
He is going to?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the next step, it sounds like.
It says Representative James Comer, the GOP ranking member on the committee, made remarks Friday at an appearance on Fox News after Twitter's new owner, Elon Musk, dropped part 1 of the so-called Twitter files, an expose of the inner workings of Twitter's censorship machine.
Yeah, dude. I feel like it's going to be a lot of this stuff that we've seen, where like Rand Paul is grilling Dr. Fauci.
Yeah, and it's just a non-answer.
Yeah, and they'll just get up there and lie by omission.
And then there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, and then nothing comes out of it after that.
Hey, let's say this. Let's play this, for example. Let's say those questions. Because obviously when we hear those questions, let's say, for instance, Fauci, the question about what's that called? Gain of function.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
They were asking him that. So it seems like when you're asking, you already know the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. Doesn't that seem like that? Mm-hmm. I already know the answer to this, but I want you to say it.
Yeah.
Let's just say they did say it. Yeah, I did that. What? What now?
People would gasp.
They probably
what? They're gonna do nothing. There's no cops there. Nobody's gonna get arrested.
Yeah.
Oh, like the
Take
emails. The emails. Like yeah, I deleted the emails. Officers. I deleted the emails. I bleach bit whatever on my computer and I destroyed them. What are y'all gonna do about it? Huh? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Nothing. Because I'll kill your families.
Like in A Few Good Men. You damn right I did it. I'd do it again too.
Right. You need me on that wall. Wow.
Yep. Crazy stuff.
It's good stuff.
I don't know if we got finished on big tech, but we're gonna have to wrap it up.
Let's do it.
Do you think we did? I don't think we. I think we're gonna have to revisit this because do y'all know Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai?
Yeah.
He's the inventor of email. He actually has a diagram. It's been out on the internet for 2 years, and I don't know why Elon has not looked at it, but it shows everybody from those organizations you just mentioned, Facebook, CISA, CIA, everybody, and it's all down, and he's got a diagram and how they're all connected, and at the bottom it has Twitter, and then it has him and how he was censored when he was running for Congress. He ran against Elizabeth Warren in Massachusetts. Okay. Massachusetts? I always say that. Thank you. I'm from the country.
It's okay.
Anyway, I think we probably should revisit. Maybe I could get him on the show. Would that be cool?
That would be amazing.
If we got him just to explain that diagram.
Yes.
Anyway. Well, that's it for us. That was Big Tech. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. I know I did because I had no idea Facebook is owned by the government.
Right.
Yeah. Next week is the end times.
The end times are coming, boys.
Yeah.
Really?
So that's going to be exciting. Hey, join us next week when you might hear Mike say,
"We are living in the end times."
Absolutely. Ooh.